we need to write our goal out. To get clarity, we don't just put it on the goal card. Firstly, we want to get a nice clean sheet of paper, and we want to just get your pen out and start writing. Writing out your goal until you can feel it, because writing causes thinking, and thinking causes feeling. I want you to think about it. Writing causes feeling, and you're thinking from that, right? So we've got to get into the feeling of that goal. Then we start to condition ourselves, like this is how it feels, and you start to feel that way all the time. Use your reality, your imagination. A lot of people don't put their imagination into what they want. They put it into what they don't want, and they keep on attracting more of what they don't want.
How do you become emotionally involved in just words that you wrote on a piece of paper?
So you got to adjust your thinking as well. You got to adapt your thinking, what you allow yourself to think. Now you got to, we think in frequency, so we've got to start thinking like we're already there. Now, our subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between something that's imagined or if it's real. Any idea that's suppressed onto the subconscious mind with feeling and repetition, it will accept the idea. So you get emotionally involved. You start to see yourself there. When you visualize as well, you get your emotions involved. And not only that, when you're taking actions around your business as well, you get into the feeling that you're already doing that. So your subconscious mind starts to accept the idea. And whatever idea your subconscious mind starts to accept, the universe starts to respond to that idea. It starts to bring in you the conditions, the circumstances, the resources, whatever you need start to appear.
Welcome to the Be Better broadcast. We have a conversation today with a very special man all the way from the United Kingdom who is going to help us to become better in our business, our lives, with our families. We're going to talk about different principles about mindset and philosophy, and even some manifestation and how it plays into living a more successful and a more fulfilled life. The man we're speaking to, his name is Mindy Paul. And for those who don't know Mindy works with business owners, CEOs, and executives from different industries across the world, from doctors to lawyers to accountants, with the aim of helping them to earn more money, work less, and achieve fulfillment. Three things that I think most of us would like. He has helped thousands of people to turn around their business fortunes with a change of mindset, belief, and habits. He lives in the United Kingdom with his wife and his two children, and is the host of his own podcast, The Mindy Paul Show. He has a passion for Thai kickboxing, which he competed in professionally until his early 30s, which is very cool. So maybe that'll work its way in principle-wise to what we're talking about today. So when you take away even just one thing from this conversation with Mindy and myself, please share this show with just one other person who could use it as well. We don't inundate you with ads or sponsors, because we just want to bring you the content that will actually help you to make a difference in your life. And you are the reason that we've grown the way that we have, because you are the best part of the Be Better family. Without further ado, Mindy, it's great to have you on the show, my friend. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me. Wow, your production stuff that you got going on is amazing. The level of detail that you put into it is phenomenal. It's given me some insights. Wow.
Awesome. I appreciate that, brother. Well, I saw you had purple in the background, and I started with green. So I was like, let's switch it up. Let's go the same color. That way yours is a little bit more bold of a purple, which I like. But, a lot of what you do seems very bold, man. And, I've been following you for a bit now, and this is the first time that we've actually gotten to have a conversation. But man, you help a lot of people. And I'd like to commend you first, because there's a lot of people that I talk to and connect with, and not all of them make it to the show. Some do, and they still have great insights. But I really appreciate when someone helps people to make movement in a specific area of life and is able to show the real results behind it. They're able to show that it's real, right? And you're helping real people. And if you're up for it, I'd like to jump into a real example. I'd like to just dive in with you, because let's just dive in, because there's a lot we need to cover today. And recently you just worked with someone named Rita to explode her business. Okay. And it's a pretty spectacular story. She went from somewhere around, I believe it was just over 6 figures, to over £1 million per year, which blows my mind that she 10x'd her business in just under a year. And, you gave great detail as to how it happened in your post, but the first thing you mentioned was manifestation and this whole idea of the law of attraction, right? And I think most people listening to this have heard of the law of attraction before, but you don't just accredit her success to the law of attraction, you also accredit it to actual business strategies and doings that create that result. So I want to dive into that result with you. Can you give us some more detail on Rita specifically and like why she came to you, what she was looking to do? Well, let's get like the foundation set here because I want to build on that.
Yeah. So Rita was like stuck at about 150,000 a year. And she'd been there for about 7 years, and she knew that she could do so much more, but she wasn't aware of like why she wasn't getting the results that she wanted. So she came to me. She sees some of the results that I'd help people get. And so I said, hey, listen, Rita, you're here and you want to go there. I said, listen to everything I tell you to do. Now, Rita, when she done 1.1 million within 6 months. Now, that's no joke, right? You don't just do things by accident. We always talk about the law of attraction, but here's the thing. A lot of people don't really understand how the law of attraction really works. There's a lot of airy-fairy stuff, but you've got to have the business side of things as well. You click it in with your mind, with the mindset, with the manifestation, and the business coaching that we give. And that's how we were able to help her really explode her business. And it happened quick. So there was a lot of stuff that we had to work on with Rita, that how she was programmed. You know, a lot of people, Brandon, try to, meditate their way, visualize their way to those millions. And that's not the way to do it. This is why so many people are lost and confused in the manifestation space. So, just all over the place.
Yeah. What are they doing wrong? So what you mentioned, the mindset and the business principles. Does one come before the other? Are they done concurrently? Where are most people getting attraction wrong?
Brandon, that's a great question. Now, a lot of people focus a lot on strategy. You're probably a business owner. You're really focused on your lead generation system, your marketing, your funnels, whatever it is. But before any of that can work, we've got to identify where we're actually some of our limiting beliefs are. And then once we change those beliefs, only then can the marketing strategies and all that kind of stuff work. So we've got to go to the root cause is, why are you getting these results? Where are you programmed in terms of your monthly income regarding how many clients that you're attracting? So we've got to work on that first. That's when the business side and everything else clicks in.
Give me an example of a limiting belief. So obviously we can think of 100 right now that people have, but there's some really prevalent ones that come to mind. Beliefs like the one that I had, which was, I am too young to be successful in this business. Or the belief of, I'll never be successful because, and then you insert something after there, right? Because of my past, because of my history, because of my background, whatever it is. What are the most common limiting beliefs that you see in your own community? Because we're going to talk about the power of community and the one that you've built. What are the most common ones? And then I want to talk with you about how can those listening right now discover their own limiting beliefs, but also how can they remove them or reprogram them?
Yeah. So a lot of people have limiting beliefs about themselves. How they look at where they've come, how many years they've been at something. So they look at their past results and they base their future upon the past. Now, if you're living in the past, you're going to stay in the past. A lot of beliefs around money. We've been taught a lot of bad ideas about money, like don't be greedy, right? That's another one, right? Be happy with what you've got. Don't chase money. Now, here's the thing, if you've got a bad belief about money, or even salespeople, what's the most common thing you heard about salespeople growing up? Now, if it's they're con artists, they're just out for the quick buck, they just want to rip you off, the scam artists, avoid them. Now, if we believe that about salespeople, guess what? As a business owner, we are salespeople, whether we do the sell. So that's a big one as well, about salespeople. People don't talk about that. So yeah. And your question is how to remove that, right?
Yeah. How do you change that? Something that's been programmed and part of who we are for so long.
Yeah. Really studying and understanding yourself, firstly, we've got to identify what we're trying to change. So we've got to identify some of these negative ideas, some of these negative beliefs. Now, a lot of people say, well, we've got to do a lot of digging, Brandon. We've got to go deep down to find out there's some unconscious beliefs that we have that we're not always aware of consciously. So we have belief on two levels. One is a conscious level where it's like a motivated belief. I believe I can be a millionaire. But on the inside, there's this sickening feeling where you've got all that fear, doubt, worry that, you can have someone that's wearing a nice suit, really well dressed, really looking the part. But on the inside, they could be feeling like so low about themselves, lack of confidence, lack of belief. A lot of people project two different things. They don't project who they really are. They project an outside look. So lots of repetition is required to change an idea. Now, that old idea has been planted. Let's talk it when I'm saying about an idea. I'm talking about negative belief. That wasn't just planted overnight. It was planted over many, many years, decades, even generations.
Yeah.
Now, so we need to like find a new concept, a new idea, and we've got to use lots of repetition over a period of time to change that program. A lot of people want to have fast results, but we've got to. It's like building muscle, right? You go to the gym, you ain't going to just build it in one day, and people tend to give up when they don't see results. It's like you're planting something in your garden, some tomatoes. You plant the seed, you're going to nurture it, you're going to water it. We know that we've got to do that. But
Yes.
we don't go digging up that seed and say, hey, is the tomato still there? We've got to have faith.
Yeah. That what you said. And okay, so before I even understood this idea of repetition and this idea that we believe more of what we tell ourselves more, right? The more we see something, which is advertising, which is marketing, the more that we begin to subconsciously think about and adopt that idea, even if it's not something that we've consciously said, I believe in that. That's true. I like that. We just start to believe it. When I first got into sales, probably my first few years, before I even discovered personal development, I read this book by a man named Og Mandino.
Yeah,
and the book was, The Greatest Salesman in the World was the book. And I read this book with a friend of mine who introduced me to it. And it's a very interesting book because it's designed to do exactly what you just laid out. It's designed in a series of chapters, but you don't just read chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3. You read chapter 1 for 30 days over and over and over. Have you read this book, by the way? Because you're familiar with it.
I've got many copies. I give them away. Really, it's a great book.
That's awesome. So for those who have it, it's an amazing book. And I believe everyone's a salesperson and everyone will find value in this book because we're all selling, whether we are selling our own product, one for someone else, ideas, whatever it is, we're all salespeople. But this book is great because you're literally reprogramming your own beliefs around sales and really success at the same time. Success, sales, money, because really they all go hand in hand. And you do that by reading each chapter 3 times a day. They're very short chapters. And then after 30 days, you move on to the next. And eventually, you begin to think about these things that you're repeating to yourself over and over and over. Just like right now, if we have a negative belief, such as, not negative per se, but a disempowering belief, such as, I'm too young to be successful. I'll never be successful. Oh, this person's where they are because of this. We think of that throughout the day. So like what you just said, we have to identify that. But we also have to figure out what's a new concept or idea. And listen, you're probably not just going to come up with this new concept or idea on your own. You're probably going to get it from someone else, a coach, someone in the community that you're in, where you're like, oh man, they're also a lawyer, but they're 10xing their business compared to mine. Or you read books, right? So one of the first things I asked you was, tell me about those books behind you, right? Books give us new ideas and new concepts. And especially at the beginning, books will really help you to reprogram those beliefs that you've held deep inside for a long time. So I love that idea of, it sounds too simple to be true, and that's why a lot of people don't do it, but conscious repetition of the ideas and the concepts that we actually want to adopt.
You know what? You said something there, which I took a note down. Like when we tell someone that they need to reread the same book, like for 30 days, the same, not even the whole book, one chapter. But people don't see the logic in that. There's no logic in reading the same chapter. Most people are like, well, I've read it once or twice before. Why do I need to keep on reading it? And I think it's so important that people that understand that repetition is the key to changing that conditioning. Because like I said, it took repetition for that belief to be planted in there. It didn't just plant in there. Well, it can. You can have a negative idea planted instantly if your subconscious mind accept it. But a lot of the time, it takes a lot of time, a lot of repetition to do the same thing over and over again, read the same thing over and over again for it to be a permanent belief. And it makes no logic. There's no logic, is there, behind that, Brandon? To read that 30 days every day.
100%. And let me ask you this then. So let's say you're talking to me and I joined your community and you could only say and give me 3 new concepts that I would have to think about for the next 6 months, I'd write them down every day. I would think about them, and I would eventually know them to be true subconsciously. What are the 3 concepts that if you could give me, you would?
Yeah, I love that question. It's a great question. So number one is, firstly, we've got to have a definite purpose, a goal. A lot of people talk about goal setting and stuff, but we've got to have a real definite goal of what we really want. Now, that we've got to read over and over again. We've got to be emotionally involved. So number one would be have a goal, okay, of what you really want. Number two would be that you've got to be emotionally involved with that goal. When we're talking about emotionally, we're not just talking about like looking at it, but we're getting excited about it, getting into the energy, getting into the feeling of that goal. Like if I was already there, like I've got my goal card in my pocket, I know what it would feel like if I was already there. Okay, so that number one is having the goal. Number two is getting emotionally involved. Number three, it's got to be repetition, repeating that over and over and over again until it really
Wow.
sinks in.
Okay, I love that. So that's like a nice 3-step process there. Step one, have a definite purpose. Know what it is that you want to achieve. Let's start there, because you just said you have a goal card in your pocket, and I love that idea. I've never done that, and I want to ask you how that helps you, because I'm actually curious. Do you read it when you go into your pocket? How often are you taking it out and looking at it? Where do most people go wrong when it comes to creating a definite purpose? And how does one go about that? Because how specific do we need to get when it comes to that definite purpose? Is it a sentence? Is it a paragraph? What's that look like for most people?
Okay, sure. So firstly, your first question, how often do I read it? Probably about 20, 30 times a day.
Okay.
And the detail is really important. One of the reasons why people don't really make it happen is because they set goals so small. They're not really like really driven by. They're not really hungry to achieve that. They look at something they really want. And they say, well, how am I going to do that? How comes in? So they start to like bring their goal down a few notches. They don't really go after, like we talk about the 3 types of goals. A type goal is something that you believe you can have. A B type goal is something that you've probably done before and, it doesn't really excite you. Now, a C type goal is something that you've never done before. It's like, having something real big that you don't know how you're going to get there. A lot of people set a goal based upon, they look at the steps. You know what? I could probably do this if this happens, that happens. But you've got to set a goal so big, but you really want it. You don't need to know how you're going to get there. And then you've got to go moving towards that goal, having thoughts that align with that goal, aligning new beliefs that go with that goal. So I'll give you an example. When I first began working with Bob Proctor, he was my mentor. I was earning around about 2,500 a month. And he said, look, Mindy, what do you want? I'm like, I pushed the boat out a bit. I thought, better say 10,000. I wanted to turn 10,000. I didn't know if I could ever earn 10,000. And at the time, I thought it's a ridiculous idea. I've never done that. I don't know how to do that. I don't know anybody that's ever done a 10,000 goal. But I set the goal. Now, one thing that changed things for me, Brandon, is I went to a training with Bob Proctor. And one of the chaps on stage, he was talking about how he was earning 75,000 in a month. And I'm like, I couldn't understand how can someone earn $75,000 in 1 month? And he wasn't grinding away. And so I nudged the guy next to me. I said, look, did he just say 7,500 a month or 75,000? And it was 75,000. And the next morning we had breakfast together, and he said about his goal, how much he's earning. And he goes, look, I can help you get there. Would you be interested if I can show you how to get there? I disbelieved that I could do that. I thought he could do that, but I couldn't. A lot of time we look at other people can do it, but we can't. So then I went on really putting in the work, and I dwarfed that goal. I've done that in a day. I've done that in an hour. But
Wow.
I had to get the steps in, the beliefs. I had to install those beliefs over a period of time. And then I did it without even knowing. And now people might look at me and say, well, how can you, the best month we've had probably about 500,000 a month. How can you do 500,000 a month? I was at a party. Somebody says, well, how can you earn 400,000 a month? I'm like, that's a great question. But how can I not? Because now I've done it. Because I changed the belief.
It becomes part of your identity and who you are once you've done it. Right.
Yeah,
Very seldom do I meet people. Even like I trained salespeople for years and years and years. And I trained salespeople where the ceiling was really 10 grand a month at this specific business and model that we were in. And people who came in being brand new generally always earned what they were used to earning. So if they came in and they were already earning 2,500, 3 grand a month, they would do the same thing here. Different product, different environment, but they would do the same thing. But people who came in and they're like, I need to make money. This is who I am. I've got bills to pay, a mortgage to pay, family to feed. They would come in and make $8,000 a month. And their first month, they would start there. But what's the difference, right? Neither of them had experience. Neither of them knew the product in a greater way. They simply had different beliefs, and they had a different idea of who they were identity-wise. And those were the only differences, not skill, not past history, knowledge, anything like that. It blows my mind how this thing that we talk about all the time, belief, holds so much power and weight.
Yeah, Brandon, I think it's a bit deeper than that, because those people that didn't believe they can do it. They didn't believe in you. They didn't believe in you. They didn't believe themselves. The first group, right, that stayed at 2,500. But they found a reason not to believe it. Now, on the other hand, you had the other group of people that went to the 8Ks. They believed that they could do it. They didn't know how they're going to do it, but they believed in you as well, that your system works, your way of teaching works. So they were more open-minded and they were more receptive to the idea. As to the first group, they closed down totally. So they weren't able to accept the idea.
Yes, it's true. It's absolutely true. So have that definite purpose, make it something you've never done before, believe in it, and forget the how. Forget how you're going to get it done. Okay. Step 2 is become emotionally involved with that goal. Is that the purpose of bringing the card around with you in your pocket? Like, how do you become, okay, so we write down a big lofty goal. I want to make $100,000 a month. I've done 10. I want to make $100,000 a month. I know I can do it because other people are doing it. Mindy's doing it. I know I can do it. How do you become emotionally involved in just words that you wrote on a piece of paper?
Yeah, so here's the thing. So you got to adjust your thinking as well. You got to adapt your thinking, what you allow yourself to think. Now you got to we think in frequency. So we've got to start thinking like we're already there. Now our subconscious mind doesn't know the difference between something that's imagined or if it's real. Any idea that's suppressed onto the subconscious mind with feeling and repetition, it will accept the idea. So you get emotionally involved. You start to see yourself there. When you visualize as well, you get your emotions involved. And not only that, when you're taking actions around your business as well, you get into the feeling that you're already doing that. So your subconscious mind starts to accept the idea. And whatever idea your subconscious mind starts to accept, the universe starts to respond to that idea. It starts to bring in you the conditions, the circumstances, the resources, whatever you need start to appear. And my clients always say, Mindy, you never guess what happened to me. This happened to me. It came out of the blue. I said, it didn't come out of the blue. It came out of your subconscious.
Wow. So start thinking about this thing more in order to get back to you.
Yeah. Then what happens is, Brandon, like the energy field that we are. So we start thinking of an idea. We start to think like we're already there. What happens is the energy field around your body starts to change. The vibration starts to change. And that's when the universe starts to pick up the vibration, and like attracts like. We hear that, but not many people understand what like attracts like means. Like energy attracts like resources. So you'll find things that just happen out, just like crazy things that happen. You'll just meet someone. In fact, a client of mine, he just signed up with me, does real high level real estate in London, and got an email from him this morning. There was someone, he's been with me for 4 weeks. Someone was on his database 5 years ago, spoke to him, didn't hear nothing else. And I'm giving my client instructions, Brian. I said, do this, do this. He goes, all of a sudden, this guy just reaches out to a multi-million-pound deal. But he was always there, but they were on different frequencies. So when I helped Brian increase his frequency, the law of attraction kicked in. Deal done.
What's up, Be Better family? It's Brandon Eastman here. And as a thank you for tuning in to the Be Better broadcast, I want to give you a very special gift. For a limited time, you can get a free digital copy of my book titled Be Extraordinary, Your Guide to Self-Mastery. This book is packed with insights and actionable steps that will help you to unlock your fullest potential in the 5 key areas of your life. But that's not all. Along with the book, I also want to give you the audiobook version absolutely free. Imagine having the power to transform your life right at your fingertips and in your ears anytime, anywhere. Go grab your copy at bebetterindustries.com/book. You'll also find the link in the episode show notes. Go and grab your copy and join me in making a positive impact on the world. Now back to the show. Yeah. Okay. So I want to talk about the business side of this too, but this law of attraction idea. Is there a special way that you recommend that we write down our goals? So when we do get because I think everyone should do this. I think everyone listening, I challenge everyone to do this. Grab a flashcard that you can keep in your pocket throughout the day. You already keep a wallet in there. You've already got some bullshit credit cards in there. You've already got all these things that you've got the 4 ID cards, your medical weed card, whatever it is. You've got all these cards in there already. Put a new one in there, right? Put your goal card in there, the most important one of all that can be front and center, even before where your cash is, business cards, whatever. When people do this, Mindy, when they have the goal card, how should we write our goals? Or does it not really matter how we write them? Because there's a lot of stuff out there about write it in the present tense, write it as if you've already done it. Does that matter? And what do you recommend?
Yeah, it needs to be in the present tense. But a lot of people have a goal that's so confusing. They need to have like an income goal, 100%. An income goal, a time frame as well. The time frame is not necessarily important, but it's just a target to work towards. So I set 2 goals, right? A personal goal and a professional goal. Put them on the same card. So let me just say, if my personal goal was to earn, let's say 50,000 a month. So I would write down something like, I'm so happy and grateful now that I'm earning $50,000 or pounds or more. You always put or more because you get what you ask for, right? So now you can get to the 100. Just because you put 50 doesn't mean you're going to get to 50. You could surpass that and go straight to the 100 or 150. And you want to put down something that you really want on a personal level. This might be a physique that you want. It might be a dream home. But then what you've got to do is you've got to start looking at that frequently. But here's the thing about this. You've got to understand, what would it feel like if I was earning 50,000 more? What would it actually feel like? No point just writing down 50,000, 25,000, 100,000, because we need to have feeling attached to that, Brandon. We need to really have a locked in feeling. So we need to write our goal out. To get clarity, we don't just put it on the goal card. Firstly, we want to get a nice clean sheet of paper, and we want to just get your pen out and start writing. Writing out your goal until you can feel it, because writing causes thinking and thinking causes feeling. I want you to think about it. Writing causes feeling, and you're thinking from that, right? So we've got to get into the feeling of that goal. Then we start to condition ourselves like this is how it feels, and you start to feel that way all the time. Use your reality, your imagination. A lot of people don't put their imagination into what they want. They put it into what they don't want, and they keep on attracting more of what they don't want.
Yeah. Because we're not being intentional about what we're putting into our mind on a daily basis. If we don't do this, then we are simply being programmed by all of the things around us rather than taking control of our own life and choosing what the ideas and concepts are that we want to focus on.
Yeah, there's another part to that, because look, like I said, writing causes feeling, right? So listen, when you're reading your goal card, you're going to be feeling a certain way. You remember I spoke a few minutes about our energy, the vibration. We need to be on a high elevated frequency. That's what we send out into the universe, and that's what the universe responds back to. So we've got to not just read the card, but we've got to get into a habitual way of feeling a certain way. Not just in the morning when you're reading it once, but throughout the day. Again, it's not going to be easy to begin with. This is why going back to repetition is so important. Feeling it over and over again, over and over again, over and over again. Then your subconscious mind starts to accept, hey, this is real. You tell yourself a lie often enough, and guess what? You end up believing it. So we tell ourselves a lie. At the beginning, we're not going to believe that we can make 100, 200. This is what I help Rita with. This is what I help lots of different people with, to do that over and over again. Not going back into your default setting. Like you go to TV, you have a factory reset. Most people wake up every single morning, go back to factory reset. Same old thinking, same feelings, same actions.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. We get in the pattern. Okay, so let's talk about the strategy portion of this now, because we could go deep into each of these, but we'll let people go deeper on their own time when they join your community. Okay. So let's talk about the strategy part. Is it a specific process when it comes to mindset, manifestation, and business principles? Like, is it like when Rita joined, you talked about what we just talked about, and then you said, but there's also the strategy and the business part of it as well. Is it different for everybody, or is there a step 1, 2, 3 to going from the 10 grand to 100 or the 100 to $1 million?
Yeah. Here's the thing. Your mind works the same. A lot of people say to me, Mindy, like, can you help my industry? I said, well, I can, yeah, because I understand how your mind works and I understand how business works. So if you're thinking of, let's say, a 100K goal, let's just talk about 100,000, for example, for a month, right? Now we want to get you to 100,000. So we need to like firstly create the beliefs about that, but then we've got to say, hang on, what sort of activities would I be doing if I was going to earn 100,000? What sort of actions would I be taking? Who would I be meeting? How would I be putting myself out there? Like if you look at the strategy, a lot of people don't really understand what they're selling. They do a very poor job in terms of like marketing what they're selling. So we need to have clarity on what we're selling as well. Okay, we need to have a clearly defined message. That's a big part of it too. Having a message where a stranger was to walk past you, you had a shop front and it just said shop. It means nothing. But on the other hand, if you had a shop that sold hi-fi equipment, professional hi-fi equipment, that's an example I'm giving you. I don't know where that come from,
Yeah.
but they know like what you're selling. So we've got to have strategies. We've got to be willing to put some money into the marketing side of things as well, because that's important. A lot of people they don't speculate to accumulate. They want to play it small. So you've got to have some sort of budget, some sort of marketing strategy as well, to lock onto, so you can scale your business more, so you can reach more people. That's important as well. So I look at myself. If I was to earn 50,000, are my activities, are my business practices matching up to someone who earns 50,000, or am I just trying to play it small organically, sending people DMs and doing little lives and stuff? So the strategic side comes in there as well.
Now, is that, and this is me, devil's advocate, I'm just curious, is that thinking about the how? So at the beginning, we talked about disregard how we're going to do it. Is this not the how piece of it?
I love this question. I had this the other day. So when we talk about don't worry about the how, when we say don't worry about the how, what we mean by that is don't worry about if you can do it. How can I do it? Can I even do it? So the strategy part of is kind of is the how and it's not the how. Sounds kind of contradictory, right? But if I want to get to, let's say, like 1 million, 2 million a month, I'm not going to think like, can I really do it? Can I really do it? I'm going to put down some steps to going towards that goal, right? What do I need to kind of get done? Initially, we don't need to worry about how it's going to happen, but we've got to say, look, do I want it? Yes or no? Forget about the how, park that to one side. Okay, I want to make it happen. Okay, so let's look at some steps now in how we can go towards that level. The first thing is don't worry about the how. I get that. But the second step is once we've determined that we want this, yes or no, then we say, all right, let's put an action plan together, strategic actions that are going to move us towards there. Does that make sense?
Yes. So even if you're not 100% sure of how you're going to go from here to there, write out the steps or a plan that could potentially take you from here or there, even if that plan doesn't hold up, and even if that plan eventually changes.
Yeah, you never change a goal, you just change the way you get there. You might listen, let me talk about strategy. Like some people, like for me, I'm not big on LinkedIn, and a lot of people say to me, Mindy, most of your clients are on LinkedIn, but my energy isn't behind LinkedIn. I don't really understand the platform. I'm not really energetically drawn to that. But here's the thing, Facebook is huge for me. A lot of people say, well, like the people that you want, the doctors, the lawyers, accountants, they are not on Facebook. These people are on LinkedIn. But here's the thing, my belief is attracting that to me because I'm going all in on that one platform. A lot of people make a mistake of going in 3 different platforms when they're not even putting the 100% in one platform.
True. Yes. That's like me. That's for a long time. I was like, I need to be on LinkedIn. I need to start doing things here. I need to be on Instagram. I need to be on Facebook. And I think the universe sent me a signal, because at the very beginning, it's almost like at the beginning, I knew exactly what I needed to do. I needed to go all in on YouTube with the podcast and obviously the podcast platforms. But then I started to dip my toes into Facebook and dip my toes into Instagram, and I started to build a following there as well. And I'm concurrently growing followings everywhere, but it's stressful and it required a lot of time and 2 hours a day of just typing out copy for each platform and all these things that I was doing. And then boom, my Facebook account and my Instagram account were overtaken. My ads account, everything was overtaken from someone overseas. And long story short, those accounts got disabled. And I was struck with anger and sadness. And why is this happening? How do I get them back? All these things. But really, now that I look back, I realize it was the universe telling me, or my subconscious, who knows what it was, but it was someone or something telling me, Brandon, you were putting your eggs in too many baskets. You need to focus on one lane, follow. And for the past year, we've been very dead focused on YouTube. Our audience, I mean, if you look at the growth chart, this is where it was, and now it's literally doing this as we speak. We're getting over 20,000 views and downloads of the podcast every 48 hours. We're getting 900 hours of watch time every month. It's mind-blowing what focus and dedication will actually do for anything. And you're absolutely right. Figure out what your lane is, create that plan, and go all in on that.
But Brandon, there's a part to that, like when you're on Facebook and Insta, that allowed you to define your message and find your truth and find your voice. So once you found it there, you can take it to any platform and do the same there. So all that wasn't, we're doing this the same with YouTube now. So we're going big into YouTube. We've mastered Facebook. Now we're hitting like the YouTube stuff, really going to go massive into that too. So yeah, you got to get your voice and your position right. One platform first. Don't try to do everything everywhere, because it's not going to be productive. So you're not going to be able to give. It's like you got like 3 kids. You got to give them equal amount of attention, right? Otherwise, one's going to like turn against you.
That's true. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, great. So we could dive in so deep there, but we'll let people take that step on their own, right? You've already given a lot when it comes to the mindset, the business side. How important is community when it comes to developing the beliefs, developing the mindsets? Because for a lot of people, including myself at one point, my community was only the people I worked with. And the people I worked with were typically at a lower level or at the same level when it came to thinking, right? There was seldom a person who was at a higher level of thinking. How important is community?
Yeah, community is what stretches you. Like you've heard the term before. If you're the smartest person in the room, get out the room, get into a new room. So surrounding yourself with the right type of people that are big thinkers that cause you to stretch as well, that really cause havoc in your thinking, is where you want to be. So this is what we've done we've got a Facebook group, Mind, Money, and Business. We're very strict on who we allowed into that. So, every month we have live masterclasses, which we'll go into, and we look at the type of people that are coming in. We look at the industry, we look at what they're earning right now and the type of industries they're in. And then we'll block certain people. We'll block certain, and we're not afraid to do that, because I want to keep my community high, because I want to surround myself with the likes of people. I don't want to have people that moan, complain, and negative. So community is absolutely everything. Having a mentor. It's like, look at what you're doing here. Great community. And I love, one thing I do want to say is that I love how you hold yourself, how you conduct yourself, the questions that you ask, really intelligent questions, and they're well thought through, so you're doing a great job. I just wanted to share that with you.
I appreciate that. Yeah. And that it didn't start there. I mean, that's after 400 episodes, you start to figure those things out, and it becomes more of who you are, right? Because at the beginning you have the beliefs of, am I the right person to do this? There's already so many other people doing this. Why do I want to do this? But then, like you said, you find your voice, and you can take that anywhere that you go. So, okay, Mind, Money, Business.
Mind, Money, and Business, yeah.
Tell me about, when did you start this Facebook group? Why did you start it? What are people in the group seeing in terms of their actual results once they're a part of this community?
So the reason why I started Mind, Money, and Business, because I felt that there was nowhere for people that are into manifestation and business, like high level people, not just like startups and people that are just dreamers, somewhere where like people that are actually really, we talk about big goals, we talk about hitting 100K months, $1 million months. I wanted to create a community because I figured out how to do it myself. And I wanted to bring a community together where I can share them my steps and bring case studies together, create an environment where people can join that and they can too get the results. There's lots of groups out there on manifestation, but there wasn't one that I felt, this is the one. There were so many different things missing. We talk about like business coaching. So we do kind of 3 things in one. We do mindset, manifestation, and business. So you can't get to those million months or 8-9 figure company, 7 or 8 figure company, whatever you want to do with just like manifestation. You can't. You got to have the missing pieces, and we bring all of these together. Now I've got probably 30 years of like business experience, so I bring all those expertise as well from different industries into the mix as well. So that, yeah. So we started the group about 4 years ago, I think. We've got about 15,000 members in there. Again, like I said, we reject more people than we accept. It's not a numbers game. It's more of a quality game.
That's great. I mean, that's a lot of people, man. That's a lot of quality people you've got in there. What type of people are you looking for? Who's the best fit to join this Facebook community that you've created? Everyone's got Facebook, so this is something everyone listening could be a part of if you're the right fit. So who are you looking for? So
these are like service-based business owners, someone who's selling a fairly high ticket offer, $1,000 or more. You could be a coach, consultant. You could be own a dental clinic, a med spa, a lawyer, accountant, put someone in real estate, someone in the financial services. So that kind of an industry. So what we don't work with is people that are in multi-level marketing, affiliate marketing, Bitcoin, all that kind of stuff. So you got to be in a position where you're able to set your own prices and you can actually make decisions yourself. Because when you're in stuff like Bitcoin, multi-level marketing, you're so constricted in what you can and can't do. So you got to be in control.
Absolutely. People who have a real product, not that multi-level marketing is not a real product, but you've got the control over what it is you're doing. And you've got the control and the ability to pivot too, because once they join and they start seeing what everyone else is doing and they start, like what you said to Rita, listen, step one, follow my directions, right? If you follow my directions, you'll get to where it is you want to go to. People take directions, but then they change them because we believe that we have the better way, when really that's the programming that we've been operating from our past, right? And if you're in the past, like what you said, you can't move forward. So guys, there's a link in the description for Mind Money Business. Go check it out, read the description, read the rules, see if it makes sense for you, and, request to join the group if it does. And if you get in, awesome, you'll be a part of a great community. I'd like to ask you, when you spent time with Bob Proctor, because Bob Proctor is someone that I look up to personally. He's one of the first guys in the world of personal development that I started watching his videos. And he starts talking about far out things like the law of attraction, like frequency, like how all those things work, quantum mechanics. I was like, what is this stuff? Is this real? And he goes into why it's real, and he goes into the actual science behind it, which is what I've always respected about Bob Proctor versus someone like, who is also great, by the way, versus someone like Rhonda Byrne, who she's only talking about the fantastical side of it. Bob Proctor gets into the weeds. He gets into how it works and why it works. What would you say is the one insight or learning that you took away from Bob Proctor from your time with Bob Proctor?
Well, there's just not just one. There was so many. Really like taking actions from living from the goal, not towards the goal. How would you be operating if you're already at that goal? You're at $1 million a month. Would you still be acting? Would you still be thinking and saying the things that you're saying right now? So aligning your thoughts and behaviors, your beliefs and behaviors. A lot of people try to create the belief, Brandon, about I'm a millionaire, but their actions don't match the belief they want to create.
Yeah.
So it's really like thinking from there, acting from there. Going back to what you said about Rhonda Byrne, I did a Facebook ad, and it was me running over the secret DVD in my car. And I got so much hate from that. How can you do this to this person's work? I said, listen, you've missed the message. I got caught up in the secret. A lot of people did. And they believe that you can just sit there, visualize, be positive, and you're going to manifest your results. And it's a great movie, right? But there was a lot left out. Even Bob said, he said that there was a lot left out of that movie. It wasn't his movie, so he had no control over it.
Yeah.
And so this is why so many people get caught up in this, and they say it's all airy-fairy kind of stuff. And it kind of doesn't really paint a big enough picture for what we actually do. There's so many missing elements, that they left out. So I got so much hate from that. But on the other hand, I've got so many people said, you know what, you're right, because I was following that. And yeah, no one talks about the actions. No one talks about positioning, like your business, pivoting, taking actions and strategy. There's a lot more involved. Yeah. So yeah, so much more that Bob gave me.
That's funny. I got to find that video of you running over the DVD. That's
wow. I'm
amazing.
Here's the other thing about me, Brandon. I'm really direct. I use strong language. I've been on my best behavior today because I don't want to, audience. But I'm really straight out. Drop a lot of F-bombs, and people in the manifestation space. Oh, you got to be calm. Just allow it's going to happen. It'll be all right. I'm like, it ain't going to be all right. And I kick people's asses. I'll tell them it is. And I sometimes, I'm straight up with people, and I think people understand what I'm like, so they wouldn't get into my community without kind of understanding the type of kick-ass person that I am. I don't believe in this airy-fairy stuff or nonsense. I'm a realist.
Yeah, no, I respect that. And I think the people listening who also relate to that, and if they're nodding their head right now saying, yeah, I'm the same exact way, then guys, go to the link below, see if Mind Money Business, the community, makes sense for you. If it does, send the request to join. If you get in, awesome. And you can begin your journey. And listen, even if you don't go to the link, even if you're just like, wow, I took a lot of weight today, you've got a lot of things that you can take away right now. When it comes to creating a definite purpose, when it comes to developing new beliefs, when it comes to writing down that plan, when we're talking about the business side of it, write down that plan from step 1 to step 20. And even if step 2 through 18 changes, that's completely fine. like what you just said, Mindy, don't change the goal, change the way that you get there, right? That's the reality. Is the plan that you create at the beginning is not going to be the same as the plan that actually takes you to where it is you want to go to. And who knows, on the journey, your goal may change. Like what you wrote, when you write down, I am so happy and grateful that I am now earning $100,000 a month or more, right? You might just skip the line and go to 300 or 4, or who knows what could happen or what learnings you take along the way. But this has been an inspiring conversation, and we covered a lot in 43 minutes, brother.
Wow, we did,
thank
right?
you for really diving in. It's been a bit. Yeah, this has been great. Mindy, it's been great to meet you. And again, you're someone who's doing it. You're someone who's getting the results. And I'm going to take some of this. I'm going to create that index card with the goals myself. I'm going to have that done by the end of today. I'm going to do it. I commit to it. And I'm going to start looking at it more often, right? Because we've all got to become stronger with our beliefs and emotionally involving ourselves with those beliefs. So this has been amazing. Thank you so much, brother.
Brandon, thanks for having me, and you're doing a great job. Really admire you.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure. Wow. I hope that you guys took as much out of this conversation with Mindy as I did. This has been a really inspiring conversation, a very practical conversation. And even if you're not a business owner, entrepreneur, service-based owner, everything Mindy said will still apply to you. Even if you're a leader inside of a company, the idea of creating empowering beliefs, creating a definite purpose, creating a goal, because if we follow each of those things that he laid out here, then by the end of a year, by the end of 6 months, our lives will look completely different. What must you do today to live from the goal, to make that goal a reality? I hope you loved this conversation. If you did, please share the show with just one other person who could use it as well. I've got a link in the description down here to Mindy's group, Mind, Money, Business. It's a Facebook community. You're probably a part of 20 of them. 18 of them are probably about cats. So now you'll have one that will actually help you explode your business. Thank you so much for watching and listening. Thanks for being the best part of the Be Better team. And until we talk again next time, continue to be better.